The national poverty rate in the United States is 14.8%, while immigrants as a group have a poverty rate of 30%. This is not taking into account the thousands of undocumented households still in poverty in the United States. My name is Michael Block, and my question is, in what ways has economic globalization affected the salaries of migrant workers within the United States over the past 2 decades? My argument is that economic globalization has negatively affected the salaries of migrant workers within the United States over the past 2 decades. My main reasons for thinking this are low salaries causing economic stress, salary comparisons between migrant workers and those who are naturalized citizens or native-born citizens, and overall poverty of migrant workers in the United States today. To start, the actual foreign-born population in the United States has been steadily rising since the early 1970s, where the population was less than half of what it is now. Some reasons for the foreign-born population increasing so much is the initial promise of quality jobs in the United States and the freedoms the government and legislature provides to the citizens. For example, the education quality in America has a standard diploma which opens many job opportunities to the citizens. The education standard is higher than possible countries that people may be immigrating from. In addition to guaranteed public education, some may choose to come to America based on circumstances that are happening in their native countries. There may be current violent conflicts ongoing in their native countries or other environmental factors pushing people out of their native country. These factors contribute to this number increasing or decreasing in the future, depending on how these issues develop over time. Although overall, in current time, the foreign-born population has been more prevalent by the year. However, during the pandemic starting in 2020, unemployment rates rose nationwide. Many people, not just migrant workers, were now out of jobs due to the circumstances surrounding the global shutdown. In 2020, the unemployment rate rose to 8.9% for foreign-born workers. People 25 and older were shown in the graph, and they are the essential workers. Migrants typically take on low-skill professions when they come to America at first. These professions often have poor working conditions and generally require lots of physical labor. The pandemic has only made these issues worse. Migrants have most likely saw worse labor conditions since the pandemic. Many migrant workers were under stress from sometimes a lack of compensation given to them after losing their jobs during the pandemic. A loss in wages for the migrant workers left them more susceptible to COVID, as they were sometimes excluded from COVID-19 protection programs. The overall decline in employment for migrant workers has greatly affected their salaries and, in addition, their health care benefits. So, when compared to foreign-born, the native-born adults with a college education greatly outnumbers them. Most recently, in 2018, 60 million native-born adults are college educated. In the graph, the data has been increasing over time from 1990. Since both have been increasing since 1990, some might say that the United States has succeeded in sending more people to college. However, still in 2018, migrants only have a fraction of what the native-born adults have in terms of college education. The foreign-born educated individuals are shown in this graph to be increasing over the course at a very quick rate. This shows that they are very capable of rising in the rates and succeeding professionally. Over time, there is hope that the foreign-born population will continue to increase. However, is the increase for foreign-born college educated individuals due to their new opportunities, or is it from the foreign-born population just increasing naturally over time? Welfare use in the United States is very important to a large portion of the United States population. In the graph, the non-citizen households have 63% using welfare programs, when directly compared, only 35% of native households use the welfare system. This disparity is likely an effect of a combination of things. For example, many of these migrant workers have lower salaries due to their choice of profession. Although they chose low salary professions, this was likely not by choice. Most high-paying professions that are entry level require a college degree. For food-based welfare, nearly 50% of non-citizen households use it. A key detail of the graph is the non-citizen category in red. Non-citizen meaning possible illegal citizens using welfare despite many barriers present to prevent this. About 50% of the non-citizens are illegal. Many of these non-citizens are forced into a tough financial situation after first arriving in the country. Up until around 2020, the foreign-born population in the United States was seeing steady increases. The decrease is from the pandemic and how many foreign-born people were forced to make that tough decision to struggle in poverty in the United States in the pandemic or move back to their native country. Last year, the United States foreign-born population fell short 2 million of the projections made before the pandemic. This working age foreign-born population in the United States overall fell short of the projection that was made before. When looking at my research, I decided that all of the various aspects have negatively affected the migrant workers in the United States long term. The salary comparisons between migrant workers and natural citizens, in addition to the low salaries and overall poverty for these migrant working people, are just the after effects of the main issue in the immigration process in the United States. Thank you. Any questions?
All right, 2 questions for you, Michael. First up, what evidence did you gather that you didn't use, and why didn't you use it?
Early on, I gathered evidence that showed racial discrimination, and I felt that that didn't fully grasp the point that, or the argument that I was trying to make, that they were marginalized through salaries.
Okay, and if you had more time, what additional research would you do?
With more given time, I would choose to focus on how many migrant workers struggle to rent and find housing after arriving in the country. I felt that that was a key point that I wanted to focus on, but I didn't get to focus on.